Welcome to Charlotte Readers Podcast, where authors give voice to their written words. I'm your host, Landis Way, and as you can tell, we're not in the podcast studio today. We're at Park Road Books, sponsor of the show, and today I'm with Ann Campanella, an author who appears in Season 2 of the podcast. Ann, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so you've written a book. It's a memoir. It's called Motherhood, Lost and Found, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about the book.
Well, it was a long journey, a 20-year journey.
20 years, yeah.
When I was 33, my husband and I had just moved back from Texas to North Carolina. We were excited about having a family. Everything was going great in our life. We thought things would continue that way. We both had good jobs. We were used to successes. And then that was the time when I had my first in a series of miscarriages. At the same time, my mother started showing signs of Alzheimer's. So this book kind of covers maybe a 10-year period of learning how to deal with grief and living through it.
So you're losing a mother, so you're dealing with that in the book. And having had a father who suffered through dementia toward the end of his life, understand the roller coaster that exists with families that are trying to connect with a loved one who's having a hard time connecting back with them. And you've got a scene in the book where you're trying to connect with your mother, where you make a connection. I'd like you to read that.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to. Mom, you have no idea how special you are. I lean over and kiss her on the cheek. I am? I don't feel special. She sounds like a little girl. I pull a tissue from the box on her dresser and dab at her eyes. She has needed someone to reach out to her, someone to wade into the dark waters of her disease and stretch out a hand. I've stood on the shore all of my life, even before she was ill, afraid to walk toward her, afraid of her next move. It was safer to stand at a distance, pick apart her behavior, try to diagnose her symptoms. How lonely it must be for her, stranded within her own mind. You've taught me so many things, Mom. How important it is to be sensitive. I don't know what I'd do without you. My eyes fill with tears. I pull another tissue from the box. Oh, look what I've done. Now you're upset too. I didn't mean to do that. Mom sniffles again, and I lean down and press my forehead to hers. It is cool and slightly damp, the texture of rose petals. It's okay, Mom. I think it's good for me to cry, for both of us to cry. We've been through a lot. I think of my miscarriages, my mother's hospitalization, the hurricane, my mother's seizure, my time away from Joel, so many difficult things. But we are here together, sharing our grief. You've given me a lot of joy, having you as a daughter. For the first time, I'm sure Mom knows it's me sitting on the bed. Her voice sounds soothing and normal. It's a voice I remember from long ago when I was a child. It's a moment of clarity, an unexpected gift. I've been blessed to have you as a mother. Thanks for trying to understand me. Mom opens her eyes and smiles. Her words stay in my head. I think of her strange phrases, her agitation. Was it all a code, a message she was trying to send to the people she loved? A message that said, I'm still here, I need you.
I can tell that it's difficult for you even still to read that, isn't it?
It brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah. But the great thing about it is that through that pain, there was this sense that she knew who you were.
Yes.
Yeah, and that had to make your heart whole.
It was such a gift. Yeah. And those moments just only came every once in a while. But when they did, it was like, wow, just a treasure.
And they told us, even though when my dad was in the hospital, I wasn't sure he was understanding. So I said, keep talking to him. He hears you,
Yes.
And she could hear you too. Yeah,
she could. And my mom was the same way. Even at the very end of her life, she had some moments that just made me know she knew I was there.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's shift for just a minute because it's not just motherhood lost, it's motherhood found as well, right?
Yes.
And you were going through this period of time where you'd had these miscarriages, and you weren't sure about motherhood, not just from whether you could carry a child to term, but you were also having doubts career-wise and whether you could do it and all the things you wanted to do. So you got a little section at the beginning of the book there I'd like you to read.
Great.
Yep.
I wish I wasn't, but I'm ambivalent about being pregnant. Having a baby feels like the most incredible gift anyone could ever receive, but I didn't grow up dreaming of being a mother. As the youngest in my family, I hardly spent any time around children younger than me. I was much too self-involved. Now, facing the idea of raising a child scares me. I'm unequipped, and there's so much at stake. What if I don't have any mothering instincts? Or what if, on the other hand, I fall madly in love with this baby? Will I lose myself in the caretaking as my mother did? Who would I be if I gave up my love of horses and my passion for writing? Joel and I have worked hard, turning our dream of having a farm into reality. We've lived off his salary, saving every check I earned as a magazine and newspaper editor. We own the land, but we still have fencing and a barn to build. Will the vision of bringing my horse home disappear if I have a baby? And how will Joel and I handle the stress and exhaustion that come with a newborn? His long hours at work and his travel schedule are already a source of tension between us. I want him to partner with me in raising a child. And last, the thing I'm most concerned about, the thing I don't like to think about. I inherited a chromosome abnormality from my mother that gives me a 50% chance of having a miscarriage. I could lose this baby.
As Paul Harvey used to say, now it's time for the rest of the story. So what's the baby's name?
The baby is Sydney.
Yeah, and Sydney, from what I can tell from all your Facebook posts, you're pretty proud of Sydney. Yeah,
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I saw her make a 3-point shot on Facebook the other day. Yeah,
she is
basketball.
having a Cinderella season with basketball.
And so motherhood turned out okay. Yeah,
it has turned out amazing.
And you still got the horses, right?
Still have them. I don't have the particular one that's in this book, but we do have horses and love them.
I enjoyed reading the novel. Now, the memoir, I'd say. You have taken this book, or actually I should say this book has taken you places that you might not have expected to go, right?
It absolutely has.
Because you're very much involved now in the Alzheimer community.
Yes, this book really changed my life. As you probably know, going through the experience of being a caretaker, it's a lonely journey, and it's sad, and it's just hard. And little did I know that once this book came out, I would be invited into a community of authors called All's Authors that provides books and blogs to other caregivers of family members with Alzheimer's and dementia. And I'm on the management team now, and so I am able to provide the things that I really wanted when I was going through this. I used to search for books on Amazon and search for memoirs, and there were very few back then.
Park Road Books has probably got it.
They probably do, yes. But back then they didn't have, or maybe Park Road Books did. And now to be able to actually offer those kinds of resources to people who are in need, it's just an incredible gift.
Well, that's great work. On a lighter note, what do you think of the podcast? Yeah.
I love the podcast. You do a fantastic job. You really create an intimacy. I have always loved listening to authors, and I feel like I'm kind of able to peek into this conversation that
that's how I feel.
And so it's wonderful. I come away feeling like I've got a new best friend, even though they have no idea who I am. So it's a real treat.
That's great. Well, thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's it for today. Another fine author giving voice to her written words. If you'd like to listen to Ann's full episode, you can do so on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to get your podcasts, or at our website, charlottereaderspodcast.com. Until the next episode, I'm Landis Wade for Charlotte Readers Podcast.